Cindy, you've been a missionary, cross-cultural missionary. Can you tell us what has been the role and what is the role now under the present situation of cross-cultural missionaries?
Sure. Yeah, well, I can try. Yeah, I've been I grew up on the mission field. My parents were cross-cultural missionaries. We went and served in the nation of Nepal and then in India and continued to serve cross-culturally here in Thailand. By the way, we just started our very first Thai Discovery Bible study here a few weeks ago. So we're praising God for that and excited to see what will happen. But I think as cross-cultural missionaries, we need to come into that context as learners, as willing to serve. We need to recognize that we're guests in that context, and our role, our job is to raise up Indigenous people. But I think that's true of all of us, not only of cross-cultural missionaries, but it's particularly true of those of us that work cross-culturally, that our role is to come alongside Indigenous workers, to encourage them, to train and to mentor and to believe in them and to give them that what they need to move forward, but we also need to recognize that God is already at work there, and he's already doing a lot through them and among them, and there's so much that we can learn as we come in humility as cross-cultural workers to be partners and to be friends, and even to come under their leadership in learning. They are the ones who know their context so much more than we do. So I think having that heart of a learner and an encourager coming alongside is still continues to be the role of a cross-cultural missionary. I think you need to be willing to invest time in understanding the context, learning the language, learning the culture. But I would say that we don't need to wait until we fully understand that before we start making disciples, because we learn as we do. My Thai, I'm just learning. My very first story is to speak in Thai. I can't yet run a Discovery Bible study fully in Thai, but why wait? People are lost. They need Jesus. We have to get started and do what we can with our limited capacity, and then God will come in and fill in the gaps. But I do believe in learning the language and understanding the culture and coming alongside of people as we work cross-culturally.
Yeah. Cindy, you had a great success among the Hindus up there in Nepal and in the Bengali area. What about Buddhists? How different are they in the approach that you have?
Yeah, well, I'm still learning. I haven't worked extensively with Thai Buddhists, so this is a new experience. And I think, all of us, we need to be constantly learning. Times change, so we need to be learners. Even if we were effective 10 years ago, that doesn't mean we're going to be effective with this generation. So we're constantly learning, constantly evaluating. And so I'm in a learning process, particularly with Thai Buddhists. In Nepal, we worked with Tibetan Buddhists. And also there, we were on the border of Bhutan. So again, Tibetan style of Buddhism is different than Thai Buddhism. But we're learning. One of the big differences that I've seen with working with Buddhists is the sacrificial system of the Old Testament is not something that's an easy bridge for them. When you talk with Muslims and with Hindus, the sacrificial system is something that makes sense and that they understand. With Buddhists, they don't kill animals, and they don't have a sacrificial system that is in the same of animals in the same way as you see in Hinduism and Islam. So that's something that we're learning. We're actually experimenting in this Discovery Bible study. Been learning a lot from some people who are seeing real success in Myanmar among Buddhists, which is a similar kind of Buddhism. And we're starting with a Jesus discovery set rather than starting with the Old Testament, and introducing things like Jesus in the temple, talking with the religious teachers. That's something that makes sense to them, so using things that are more relevant for a Buddhist mindset But movements, for a long time, there were no movements in Thailand,
Mm.
but they are happening now. We are seeing several movements take off in Thailand, and we really praise God, and many more are on the way.